MFA updates
Good morning สวัสดีครับ Welcome to MFA update a weekly program on Thailand's foreign affairs We interview the guests from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs I am Vanachai Jittiwong This week we interviewed คุณภักขจีราศรีเจริญThird Secretary at Central Europe Division under the Department of European Affairs about Thailand-Denmark relations and the commemoration of 400 years of friendship between both kingdoms. She's on the line now. Hello, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Fine. Okay. It's a pleasure for us to have you today to talk about
Thank
Denmark
you.
and Thailand relations. First of all, I will begin with asking you a background on Thailand and Denmark relations because it's been 400 years that the friendship between the two kingdoms has developed. When did we first came into contact and how the friendship flourished since then?
Right. Thank you for having me. As we are commemorating 400 years of Thai-Danish relations this year, the Royal Thai Embassy in Copenhagen has compiled the history of Thai-Danish relations, which is released in 20 chapters on the embassy's Facebook page and on the embassy's website throughout this year. So you can read more on this there. So Thailand and Denmark had the first contact back in 1621 under the reign of King Songtam of Ayutthaya, when Commander Roland Kratt, a Dutchman representing the Danish fleet in Tranquebar in Sri Lanka, set out for Tenasserim or Tanao Sea on the west coast of Myanmar, which at the time belonged to Siam. The fleet was received with friendliness at the seaport of Tenasserim, and this was documented in the written permission for Danish traders to trade with Ayutthaya, marking the beginning of 400 years of friendly relations between the two countries. And the trade relations between Thailand and Denmark continued for the next century, although it was not very intense up until the Ratanakosin era and the Jakri dynasty that made Siamese relations with Denmark much more apparent. When King Rama IV ascended to the throne in 1851, he sought to modernize Siam and open up the country for foreign commerce. Subsequently, King Frederick VII of Denmark sent Danish envoys to Siam, and on 21st of May 1858, the Treaty of Friendship, Commerce, and Navigation between Thailand and Denmark was signed, which marked the beginning of official diplomatic relations. And the presence of the Danish in Thailand during the late 19th and 20th century indeed left a profound mark in the history and the development of modern Thailand. It was King Rama V's grand project to modernize Siam and adopt Western technologies. Transportation and public utility systems, as well as banking and commercial systems, according to Western models, were established, and Siam did not shy away from Western involvement and investment. So Danish entrepreneurs in particular were very much involved in the modernization of Siam during the reign of King Rama V, as we know. One notable example of such entrepreneurs was Andreas du Plessis de Richelieu, a Danish naval officer who would later serve in the Siamese Navy. Du Plessis de Richelieu was the co-founder of the Phak Nam Railway Company, which was commissioned to construct the first line of railway between Bangkok and Samut Prakan. And the next railway line from Bangkok to Nakhon Ratchasima was later constructed under the supervision of H.N. Anderson, another prominent Danish businessman. So I would say that Danish entrepreneurs were also recorded to be involved in other ventures that were the first of its time, such as electricity, cement, tramway, and banking system. So what we can see from these involvements was that the Thai-Danish relationship was indeed a profound one. So the relationship between Thailand and Denmark continued to flourish over the centuries. For instance, I am certain that everyone knows the dairy brand Thai Denmark, Nom Thai Denmark.
Yeah.
The beginning of the cooperation in the development of dairy products began following His Majesty the King Bhumibol Adulyadej's state visit to Denmark back in 1960. during which he visited the Danish government experimental farms. And King Bhumibol had an initiative to develop a dairy farm in Thailand to create alternative jobs and income for Thai farmers. And this gave rise to the cooperation to transfer Danish knowledge and expertise in dairy farming and production to Thailand, which prior to that point did not have the technical knowledge for large-scale dairy farming. The following cooperation was thanks to our Danish friends. In 1961, the Danish government and Danish Dairy Farm Association donated 4.3 million Danish kroner to initiate the dairy farm project in Thailand. And subsequently, the two governments signed a technical farming cooperation agreement. And after that, the Thai-Danish dairy farm, together with a technical training center, was established in Muok Lek in Saratburi. In 1962, His Majesty King Bhumibol Adulyadej, together with His Majesty King Frederick IX of Denmark and Her Majesty Queen Ingrid of Denmark, presided over the inauguration ceremony of the Thai-Danish dairy farm in Muok Lek as part of their state visit to Thailand. To begin the dairy operation on the Thai side, the Danish Farmers Association gave 160 dairy cattle to the Thai people at the commencement, followed by the exchange of technical and financial assistance, which contributed greatly to the continued growth of the farm. And today, the Thai-Danish brand of dairy products is one of the most popular brands in Thailand, accounting for about 45% of Thailand's milk output. And the company has expanded its product line to include yogurt and ice cream. I would say that that Thai-Danish dairy farm is one of the most successful examples of the technical cooperation between Thailand and Denmark.
It's such a amusing story that suggests how how long and how cordial our relations could be from historical perspectives. What about the current state of Thai-Danish relations? What are the key areas of cooperation?
Right. The cooperation between Thailand and Denmark has evolved over our 400 years relation, although I believe that it's still firmly grounded in our shared history, person-to-person contact, and the relationship between our respective royal families. As for our current relationship, I am happy to say that it is Thailand's advantage to be a long-standing ally to one of the most technologically advanced countries in the world. In fact, this year, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Denmark has published the strategy for Denmark's tech diplomacy 2021 to 2023, based on three strategic priorities, which are responsibility, democracy, and security in technological development. And Thailand looks forward to working closely with Denmark under tech diplomacy, as it could be integrated into all areas of our bilateral cooperation. One aspect of this area in which the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Thailand has been working together with the National Science and Technology Development Agency, or SWTC, is robotics and automation, which will soon revolutionize the way we all work. Denmark is known for being home to the world's largest collaborative robots, or cobots hub. Cobots are a type of user-friendly robots that can work closely with humans without the need for safety guarding and are supposed to blend seamlessly into our lives. A potential area for the application of this technology for Thailand is the healthcare and elderly care industry, which are two of the major industries in Thailand. Although we have quite a way to go until we get there, it is never too late to learn from Denmark's global technical expertise and potentially contribute to these new life-changing technologies. Another remarkable area of Denmark's expertise is green technology. Denmark prides itself in being a laboratory for green solutions and in its effort to be completely independent of fossil fuels. Today, 50% of electricity in Denmark is supplied by wind and solar power, which is remarkable. And by 2030, Denmark hopes to rely completely on green renewable energy, which is a bold and admirable goal. This area of expertise of Denmark would without doubt be invaluable to Thailand's pursuit of the biocircular green economy model.
Yeah, talking about this particular model, Thailand and Denmark recently agreed to work together in this field, which seems to be the focal point of Thai-Danish relations. Could you share with us this development?
Of course. So the Biocircular Green Economic Model, or BCG, has been introduced by the Thai government in 2021 as a new economic model for inclusive and sustainable growth, and it capitalizes on Thailand's advantages in biological diversity and employs technology and innovation to transform Thailand into a value-based and innovation-driven economy. The model focuses on 4 industries in particular: agriculture and food, medical and wellness, bioenergy, biomaterial and biochemistry, and tourism and creative economy. So science, technology, and innovation will be used to enhance the capacity and competitiveness of the players in these sectors.
So how does Denmark come into play in Thailand's BCG policy?
Well, for all the reasons mentioned earlier, I think that Denmark's input would certainly be invaluable to Thailand's attainment of these goals. Denmark is currently one of the global frontrunners in the biocircular green economy, and Denmark started out being a food and farming country that has successfully transformed from traditional practices to modern production and uses technology and innovation to increase efficiency and value, which is the path that Thailand would like to be on. Accordingly, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which is to play our part in connecting relevant organs in Thailand to appropriate foreign counterparts to accelerate our transition. As Denmark makes a perfect partner in this venture, we try to work with and learn from Denmark as much as possible. The Royal Thai Embassy in Copenhagen, for example, has been very active in this sense. Back in June 2021, the Royal Thai Embassy had organized and hosted a webinar on Thai-Danish cooperation on biocircular green economy, with a focus on business and the private sector. It was one of the activities to celebrate the 400th anniversary of first contact between Thailand and Denmark, actually. His Excellency, Mr. John Thorgard, the ambassador of Denmark to Thailand, gave opening remarks and had been a vital part of this webinar. The webinar was attended by key stakeholders from the Danish government, regional administration, public-private partnerships, business sector, and research community who share their experiences and the lessons learned in Denmark's part to the BCG economy. The turnout to the webinar was very satisfactory, and the Royal Thai Embassy in Copenhagen conveyed its appreciation once again to all Danish counterparts for all their kind input and cooperation in this occasion.
All right. Last but not least, as this year marks 400 years of friendship between Thailand and Denmark, what are the plans for the commemoration on this occasion?
As we all know, this is a very special and joyous occasion. Unfortunately, we cannot commemorate as we would do normally due to the COVID-19 situation in Thailand. The Embassy of Denmark in Bangkok has postponed the photo exhibition on Thai-Danish relations at the Bangkok Arts and Culture Center for now. And the Royal Thai Embassy in Copenhagen, however, has a little more room to operate. One of the events I most look forward to is the episode on Thai food on MasterChef Denmark, in which the challenges will be on Thai food and will feature Thai ingredients and condiments. That should be fun. And the episode will also feature a special guest appearance of one of our colleagues from the Royal Thai Embassy in Copenhagen, as well as Chef Tak, a chef at the Michelin star-studded Thai restaurant in Copenhagen called Kin Kin. And to conclude, I believe that the cultural and historical connections between Thailand and Denmark are what led us to become such close friends and allies. And with such an especially talented friend as Denmark, our friendship and partnership will surely bring about real changes and improvements to our lives. as they did a century ago.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you. Thank you for your time and information today.
Thank you for having me today.
สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ
The Foreign Affairs That Matter. Special guests from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. This is the MFA Updates.
That was Pakajira Sri Jaran, Third Secretary at Central Europe Division under the Department of European Affairs. She reviewed lots of stories throughout history. It is also nice to see a great effort undertaken by both kingdoms to further explore new frontiers of cooperation in these modern days. And that's it for our program this week. Thanks for listening to this edition of MFA Update. We will see you again next week. Remember, you can always find us at Facebook, FM 88 Radio Thailand English to see the rest of editions and other English news. Or you may visit our YouTube channel, MFA Thailand as well. Bye for today. Enjoy the rest of your day. สวัสดีครับ